Now we have arrived, as we always do, at the moment of truth.
We can assert that the time has come to move forward.
It is time to clean house, to clean out the privileges and perks, clean out the arrogance and the big egos, clean out the scandals, the corner cutting and the foot dragging.
Let us leave behind suspicion between our peoples and replace it with understanding.
Our origins matter less than our destinations, and that's what democracy is all about. Whether we come from poverty or wealth, Christian or Jewish, from big cities or small towns, we are all equal in the eyes of God. That's not enough. We must be equal in the eyes of each other.
As a matter of fact, I believe with all my heart that if a generation of young people throughout the world could get to know each other, they would never make war upon each other.
We can no longer judge each other on the basis of what we are, but must instead start finding out who we are.
People of all nations, people of all races and faiths have learned to live in harmony.
Let's not dismiss our current troubles, but where they see only problems, I see possibilities as vast and diverse as the American family itself.
Our children have been able to grow up in prosperity and freedom. It falls to us now, as it soon shall fall to you, to preserve and strengthen the peace. Surely no man can have a greater goal than that of protecting the next generation against the destruction and pain of warfare.
May each of you have the heart to conceive, the understanding to direct, and the hand to execute works that will make the world a little better for your having been here. Let us all renew our commitment, renew our pledge to day by day, person by person, make our country and the world a better place to live. Never forget your heroic origins. Never fail to seek divine guidance, and never lose your natural, God-given optimism.
Keep it up. Keep on saying yes to life.
May every dawn be a great new beginning.
Learning to learn. Learning to look to the future with confidence. And this is so important as you look to the future. You see, in the 21st century, staying employed will mean more than just knowing something. It'll mean being able to keep on learning. It'll mean having character and discipline and being proud of yourselves. We're moving from an age of things to an age of thoughts, of mind over matter. It is the mind of man, free to invent, free to experiment, free to dream, that will shape the economy and the world of the future. You know, every generation is critical of the generation that preceded it. You will discover as you get older that certain things are so much a part of your life that you'll remember them always. You'll remember how you felt about things, about successes and, yes, disappointments. Our generation felt that way, and so will yours. But in casting aside the old, don't throw out those values that have been tested by time just because they're old. We're going to build a future together that will enable every one of you to reach for the stars, and you'll know what it is to enter the workforce or go to college in a land of prosperity, pride, and hope. When I was a young man, you knew that if you dreamed big and worked hard, there was no limit to how far you could go. We want to tell you all that we have learned. We want to paint for you our own experience so vividly that you'll be able to avoid our heartaches while you double and redouble your joys. And then we find we have nothing at our disposal but words, weak and feeble instruments. We want to create opportunities so that all Americans can go forward together with nobody left behind, where our young men and women can dream great dreams and make them come true. And no matter how full our own lives have been, we say with Thomas Jefferson, I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past.
We are beginning still. Every day brings fresh challenges and opportunities to match. Every evening bring us closer to that shining city upon a hill. Our proudest moments are yet to be. Our most glorious achievements are just ahead.
But a big job awaits us to keep improving our schools, to lead the world toward new frontiers of science, technology, and space.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
It'll determine the kind of America that we pass on.
Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen of the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution of peace without victory. Or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. They say if we'll only avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy, he'll forget his evil ways and learn to love us. Those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Alexander Hamilton said, "A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one."
And that's not good enough for America.
History will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. We cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb, by committing an immorality so great as saying to 1 billion human beings now enslaved behind the Iron Curtain, give up your dreams of freedom, because to save our own skins, we're willing to make a deal with your slave masters. They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. I think we're for an international organization where the nations of the world can seek peace. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement.
If they feel as we do, and if they want peace as much as we do, then they'll join us in not just reducing the number of those nuclear weapons, but in eliminating them entirely from the world.
Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I. courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically.
You think we should sit back and let that happen to America? Hope finds its expression in hard work.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. They want to make you and I believe that this is a contest between two men, that we're to choose just between two personalities. I believe that the issues confronting us cross party lines. The ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism. And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.